Lingua Ignota? I barely know him. Oh no, not revive music. Oh no. Don't make me listen to an hour of clean pop songs, I beg of you. Oh, it's on here. Okay. Alright. I've been on YouTube long enough that every time I try and look for an album that's really popular, every time I see it by Revive Music, I'll go to the playlist and there'll be the same one video snuck in the middle to get views. It's like this like 1 hour of like clean pop or some shit like that, and it's fucking Revive Music. I think this is the first time I've seen them not with that fucking stinky video in there. Uh, yeah, this one. Fucking fuck these guys. Fucking Jesus. Anyways, Lingua Nota. Tangent out of the way. Um, this is Lingua Ignota. Sinner, get ready. This is part two of a series, but um, there's an album by the band Daughters that is also critically acclaimed called "You Won't Get What You Want." I've been listened to for like, I don't know, 7 years at this point, and apparently, I don't know if this was ever really proven. I'm just aware of as far as I know, it was allegations, but apparently, Lingua Ignota and the main singer, I think, from Daughters were in a relationship together, and it was kind of abusive, and that album is highly acclaimed, and this one, which apparently, I don't know if is about the abuse, but what was released since then, this is like an amazing album, one of the ones Fantano, good old Melon, gave a 10 out of 10. So I was already planning to listen to the Daughters album for like, a long time, so that, what I'll do is I'll listen to that one, and I'll listen to this one back to back, just to, I don't know, as a cool little not really an experiment. I don't think there's any ties to the albums specifically. It's mostly an OCD thing. I thought, they're both highly acclaimed albums. I want to listen to both of them. I'm going to listen to them both at once, because why not? And then, 3 more years went by. So I thought, I'm going to do it for the channel and get out of the way. So I just did the Daughters one a couple days ago. Now I'm here for Lingua Ignota. I did listen to, I think, 1 or 2 songs, not from this album, briefly, a day or so ago. And not what I was expecting, although I do know each album they kind of like, change their sound a little bit, so I'm probably not going to get exactly what I heard anyways, but what I did hear, I liked a lot. I think it was something to do with bitches, I think. All bitches die or something, I think that's what it was. But we're going to listen to this now. I did listen to this first track. Like, I think I listened to the first minute of it, I think, a long time ago. But we're going to do this now, because I put it off for 5 days. So yeah, this is the first track. Ooh. The Order of Spiritual Versions, I guess. I guess is what it's called. Interesting. Already. Of course. I didn't expect it to be this spiritual sounding. I mean, from what I've heard from Fantano and the other songs, I knew there was like little bits of like not Christian music, but like kind of like religious kind of, overtones in it. Like the choirs and, stuff like that. But like, this is very heavy on that. It's not like little, it's not like an influence of. It is like exactly that, pretty much. Interesting. Personally, I'm not liking this already. That's not to say it's bad. I am able to acknowledge when something is good and just not my taste. And I don't think this is a song that I would return to. Although it is very nice. Nice piano. It's like setting a nice mood. It's a good opener for the album. Assuming the other songs aren't exactly this. It's mixed well, I like how it sounds. Good sounds. The atmosphere is really good too. It's very specific, vibe it's going for. I always talk about how good albums need to be able to have their own identity. This ooh, definitely has that. Ooh. It's interesting because I listen to enough music, right, to basically noise isn't just noise. Like, you can have a use for it, and you can use it in different ways. And I think the Daughters album uses noise in a very aggressive way. And in this, it's more of like a it adds an element of like deep pain into the sound. I mean, it was already kind of somewhat eerie, very very little though. But now it's really foreboding, and the noisiness of it makes it like a very like intense. It gives it an intensity that pushes it from like eerie to like pained and stuff. I feel like it's a bit separated though. When I hear like noisy stuff like this, the thing that usually I don't like is when it sounds like the noise is just on top. It's like a layer. It sounds like it's clearly separated from the music, and the music itself is not distorted. It sounds like it's just layered on top. And as beautiful as her voice is, which it is, definitely very beautiful, I don't like how it cuts very cleanly through the noise. Because it basically makes the noise feel way less powerful to me. Just want to think of like a very strong force, it should be overpowering. And when it is being overpowered by something else, then, you know, it doesn't necessarily feel as strong anymore. And even here, like, it feels like there's the piano and the distortion separately. Oh, there's some voices. Some kind of recording. Interesting. Interesting sample, whatever that is. Huh. Very interesting. It kind of reminds me of swans a little bit. Alright, I who bend the tall grasses. Creepy organs. This one. Nope. Interesting. Still very foreboding. I'm not exactly a fan of her vocals here. Not. It's a little cringe, a little bit. It feels like she's trying way too hard. I mean, technically it's good, you know. Like, it's hard to do. But execution-wise, I forgot the mark is missed a little bit. And you can hear it in how she's screaming too, you know. Like, I don't know if she's like an opera singer or is it classically trained in any way, but with her vocals, it sounds like it. They sound very operatic, and even when she's screaming, you can tell she's placing it in a very similar spot. Like she's screaming like an opera singer would scream. Well, I know they do scream sometimes. I haven't heard actual opera singers scream, like in terms of how they actually do in a performance. I just know that like in terms of vocal placement, if you're using those techniques, right, that's how it would sound to scream from those using the same techniques. I don't know if in an actual play, when they scream, they do sound like that, but yeah. Because some of what she's saying does not come across try hard at all. Like some of what she's saying is written well, but like again, it's the performance of it. It's just like very. She's saying very like. She's saying things that are very like. I don't want to call it primal. She's saying very impulsive things that you say when you're angry and stuff, of course, you know. She's saying things, the words are impulsive, but the execution is very theatrical and like planned out, and it's very disjointed to me. Like this is a wild comparison, but like if you ever listen to the full version of Disturbed Down with the Sickness, in the breakdown he has like a mental breakdown about abuse, right? And it's cringe too, not the point. People hate that song now, at least most people do, because you know, new metal cringe, sure. But the point is that he's saying very angry, primal, impulsive things in a angry, impulsive way. If you were to like sing song those same words, it would be even more awful. So like, I like the sound of this track. It's good, but I feel like the execution is really not there. I thought they could have done this. They could have approached it vocally, very differently. Because the vocal approach alone kind of made it feel way, way, way less like humane and like, or way less human and a lot more like fake. And I know they're saying like, you know, they're expressing very real emotion and real pain. So like, I don't want to say it feels fake, but like that's how it comes across when they're displaying it in a very like, you know, when they're saying words that are very clearly you know, from the heart, and that would be very like impulsive and human, and they're presenting it in a very like, you know, theatrical. I don't want to say it is fake, but but it like almost it's in because it's so theatrical feeling. It indirectly feels fake, because when some things, you know, like a whole fucking production, it's very theatrical. Naturally, it is fake. It's a planned performance. It's a set up thing. You know what I mean? And it's like all perfect and neat, you know. And things that are very human are not neat. They're not pretty. And she's like trying to do both, and it's not working. This one has many hands. This song, because the first song, she was doing things impressive vocally, and she was going at it very seriously, and the song felt like that. At least the first half of it. It stayed in its own lane. And then in the second song, they're trying to do both sides, and it wasn't working. You do one or the other. I do like the sounds in this one though. Like the background sounds are nice. It's odd. The more I listen to her voice, it's like operatic, but also like very has a big like Christian chant, Gregorian chant kind of undertone. Not Gregorian chant, but very like religious, specifically Christianity feel, or Catholic, anything like that. But also there's a little bit of like tribalness in it too, and some of the vocal runs. And some of the not influences, I don't know. Some of the things she's emphasizing in her voice are very tribal in a way. That's not even the right word, but good enough. For lack of a better word, emphasizing. Because that's very tribal to me. Like African-ish. But other times, it's like I'm at church. The background instruments also sound somewhat tribal, but I couldn't say what exact culture. Hallelujah. I kind of like this song, but not enough to save it. It's personally, it's like a 4 out of 10 for personal enjoyment. It in of itself, it's probably the best song on here, so far. Because nothing's conflicting like the second track, and it's not doesn't have the problems that the first track did. I think it's almost over, right? Yeah, I'd say this is a pretty solid I don't like it that much. I wouldn't listen to it again. Maybe one more time. Like if I do listen to this again on my off time, which I might. Sometimes I revisit albums, that when I listen to them, I might revisit them once or twice, next few days. This might be one of the ones I kind of check back in on just to see maybe I do like it if it grows on me. But right now, I do not like it. It's just before It's like just under what it have to be for me to listen to it again. But again, in and of itself, I do think it's a really good song. Like I said, I can acknowledge when I don't like something, but I can still acknowledge it's good. And the first two songs had their problems. This one, it's really good. Um, I love the atmosphere it created. Um, Nothing felt like it was conflicting with each other in the song. It all kind of blended together really nicely. Um, yeah, good. Yeah, her voice is good. Like, you know. I'm gonna go to Pennsylvania Furnace. This is nice. This might be one I actually like. If it continues on, you know, this path, you know, they even throw some experimental noisy things in there. And if it's done right, it'd be good. Already I'm liking it. Probably the most of any of the tracks so far. So far. It's a nice sounding piano too. Very nice. It's gonna go somewhere. I can already hear it building somewhat. I think part of what makes me not like her voice in certain sections is the vibrato. That's what's given it a lot of the theatrical disingenuousness that I'm not liking. Like that's part of just how she sings, and she's not doing it intentionally. Like for me, I can turn vibrato on and off. I can choose if I want to be, if I can have a smooth note or a vibrato note or like a very heavy vibrato. I can do that intentionally, right? For her, she might just that's how she sings. Again, it just sounds like that's how she's trained her voice to be. So like, but for me, and for most singers, a vibrato is like again, it's like a choice to do, and it gives it a more theatrical kind of leaning. It's more of a performance, right? Especially with a vibrato that thick, that is very operatic. When they're talking about things as deep, it starts to feel very disingenuous. Didn't like those kick drums either. I'm glad those went away. It was starting to feel very stereotypical of like a lot of like pop music that uses pianos and that. They always gotta put like these like kick drums and like very fake full choruses. Like it's starting to feel like mobile game trailer music or something. For a good mobile game, probably, but still a mobile game. Like take the vocals out, and it sounds like I've just booted up like Epic 7 and I haven't pressed log. I haven't tapped to log in yet, so it feels like. I should play that again. It's been a long time. I might do that. Maybe. I didn't say it before. I do like the strings on this track. They're very nice, very real. At least I'm pretty sure they're real. I'd have to listen to this again, but that might be the only song that I like so far. I'll have to see. Where's my playlist for saving songs for later? Oh, just okay. I forgot I got rid of it. All right, I'll check that one out again on my off time. Maybe I like it, maybe I won't. It's probably the one I've liked the most so far. Now we're on to. My bad. My apologies. Now we're on to Repent Now, Confess Now. Of course, in capital letters. I wish the album would go somewhere. Like, I feel like all these songs are going for a climax and then just ditching and like just like not committing to it. I feel like I keep waiting for something to happen and then nothing ever happens. It's a nice mood for sure, but like it's not giving the impression that it's gonna be nice mood music. It's giving the impression that it's building to something, and then it just doesn't build to anything. The builds are very minor, and they're barely even builds. They're just like little ebb and flows of texture, which I guess are nice, but like when it's presented in a way we were expecting, like drops of some kind, like the kick drums on the last song, I thought it was gonna drop, and it just never did. Like then it's a bad thing. If it was just these like ebb and flows, it'd be fine. But they're clearly setting up things that they're not delivering on. And I'm not trying to be contrarian also. I'm not saying these things to be like that one guy that hates this album or so. Not that I even hate it. It's just like these are genuine criticisms I have. Like, you know, when I hear an album regarded as like a 10 on the 10 from like either the majority of music people or like Fantano, who, you know, I guess, you know, his opinion is, you know, above all. He's the baseline of opinions, I guess, you know. When I hear people talking about this album's a masterpiece all the time, right? I have very high expectations, very high. And it's very much not meeting those. I'm pretty disappointed. Sounds kind of folky in a way with the guitars. Kind of. Texting a friend right now. Just he's happened to text me while I'm reacting to this. I'm telling him recording a video right now. This album is highly regarded as a masterpiece. And so far, it's been ass. Which I say jokingly, but it is good, but like not as good as everyone is saying by far. There's a lot of genuine issues with it, but like I wouldn't say it's ass. That's how I talk to him. But it isn't great. I like the noise in this track. I liked the instrumentation of it. Again, that's one I'll have to listen to later on. I'm just kind of fully soak it in again. Right now, because I was a little distracted. Let me just quickly do this really quick. Yeah, some nice flutes I missed before. Yeah, again, I feel like it's going somewhere and then it doesn't. I'm gonna pause this for a quick second, just so I can respond to my friend really quickly, then we're gonna jump back into this. Alright, I'm back. Next song, The Sacred Lineament of Judgment. Hopefully it's not boring this time. I might like some of our other stuff better, because this is, to me, is not hitting at all. I like the more atmospheric vibes of All Bitches Die, or whatever that song was called. But this is just, no, it's not hitting. Again, this song is a bit better, because at least things aren't clashing too much. But actually, now it's starting to clash, now that I say that. Because the piano and the singing and the lyrics and the one side of the music is very positive, very major, and the other half, all the noisy tribal stuff, is like in minor, or it's very dissonant. And again, it's like the two sides are fighting. They're not combining in a satisfactory way. They just are there. It's like they're in the same room, but they're not like the same thing. They are not combining like I think they wanted them to. No, 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 no. If you're if you're gonna have some like tape loops, it's like some like field recording of some guy talking, you do not put that under singing. That's not how that works. When you that if that's like a staple of like how to explain it. There's no rules for it, but like whenever you hear that, you know, it's like when there's like you if someone is singing, you don't have someone else singing a completely different melody and vocals on top. It's one or the other. You know what I mean? Same thing for this. It's like they're trying to be atmospheric as well as like they're, they're doing it incorrectly. Is my point? Because like when I'll let it play. When you want when you are going to include like all these other atonal instruments are fine, right? That's fine, but something like this where it's one talking, you not put that under you singing. It clashes immediately. It sounds awful. Like you just put it like you can put it like in like a bridge or like a prolonged intro or outro or something like that, but like not when there's already words being presented. You're just smashing things together that aren't fitting. This stereotypical, but like the thing that works to do is you put it at the end. You have your song, then you finish, you say your last line, then the instrumental is doing its last couple bars, and then you have the vocal clip, the snippet to close out the song. It has its own separate part. See, this is fine. This is good right here. This is nice. But I imagine it's going to start singing again, and it's going to start clashing again. But right here, this is great. This actually is very nice right here. But once you start singing over top of it, then it clashes right away. I feel like her voice specifically is the problem with this album. I think without, as good as her voice is, her voice and executions with her voice have been mostly negative this entire time. If they were to take her voice out, not that her voice is bad, but it's clashing with a lot of things. And again, there's just certain choices she's making, execution-wise, just aren't good. So I think if you take her voice out, this album actually would be really, really good. I probably actually like it even more. It's her voice that's throwing me off. It's her voice that clashes with certain instrumental things. It's her voice that sounds way too try-hard at times. It's her voice that it's a lot of the problems are with her voice. She has a fantastic voice, amazing voice, but like she's not using it correctly in terms of the context of this album. She's trying to do different things at the same time, and they're clashing. I wouldn't say she knows how to mix them together properly. Perpetual Flame of Contralia? I think. Again, it's weird because like I would think this would be calm downs. These are tracks to give you a little bit of a break from the chaoticness of the album and from the energy of it, but there isn't any. It's not chaotic. There's no energy. So, like, I think that they think those songs, like the last one, pack a lot more of a punch than they do. Because it would make sense if that song was crazy, and then you have this song to calm you down and give you a little bit of a break. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like they're putting a bit too much faith into these more experimental tracks. And if they were to crescendo more and go that extra mile, not only would it be way more effective in themselves, and they wouldn't feel like they're constantly what's the term? Like letting me down, I guess, lack of a better term. But also, these songs, the calmer songs, would also have a lot more of a heightened effect, because it's a break from the chaos that would be there if they decided to go that far, which they are not. It feels like they're holding back the entire album. It sounds alright. I mean, it's a nice vibe, but like, I wouldn't go back to it, I don't think. It is not grabbing me at all. At this point, I'm waiting for the album to end so I can go to the store before it closes and get a drink. Like, I'm more concerned about that than the album at this point. This is not exactly an enjoyable time. It's very boring, and it's very I don't want to say I don't want to use the term blue balls because it's kind of lewd and crude, but like that's the only term I can think of. It keeps feeling like they're teasing me, and um, if it just feels like it's not going anywhere. Like it's like they're dangling these keys in front of me, but not letting me have them. Not even that. That's a bad example. You know what I mean? It feels like they're just playing with me, like they're teasing me with oh, it's gonna build, and then it doesn't. Oh, it's gonna build, and it doesn't. We're gonna do something cool, and then you don't. And it feels like it's setting up, and it's never going anywhere. And then I can tell where they thought we went somewhere, and they're not. Like that last song, they didn't go anywhere. Very very little. Sad. As usual. God, how much longer? 7 minutes and 5 minutes. So 12 minutes. I can wait 12 minutes. Please do something interesting. Man is like a spring flower. Okay. Let's do a thing. There's some kind of voices in the back. God damn. My apologies. Probably not the best album to say something like that. Give me a sec. It was very sensitive of me to say goddamn on an album like this. I know she doesn't consider herself Catholic, and it's somewhat complicated, but like still. That's really quiet. That's a bit better. Oh, some strings. It's somewhat folky. It's all right. Sounds like Fiona saying to the one bird that exploded. It's a nice kind of sound, I guess. I mean, yeah, not my thing, but at least this track has some continuity. Things are blending together quite nice. See again. So this musically, this tells me we're building to something. With the chords, with how the energy is shifting. I think we're building into something. We're going somewhere, and it's not going to. Jeez. Oh, actual crescendo? Oh. It really can't decide what it wants to do. That was. So the whole song, right? It's going the. Again, there's elements of the album that are very calm and tranquil and more organic. And then there is the very, distorted, artificial side of things, right? That did not feel like that was not a good climax. That was very jarring and not in a good way. Um, that didn't even feel like a climax. It was just like out of nowhere. It was because like if it was, it's the fact that it was so distorted and stuff and so like unreasonably loud. That was probably the loudest part of the album that felt very unbalanced. Um, there are parts though that are very quiet too, and that part was like very overly loud. And first off, if the volume level was normalized, and it wasn't that insanely loud, then that would have made it better. But also, they could have not of overblown and distorted those instruments, and it would have came across a lot better, and it should have also given it more time to build. Just kind of jump scared you and then left. Like they need to give it more time. They need to pick. Are you going to have it be distorted and artificial or organic and pure? And they're flip flopping again. They can't decide which one they want to be. And then they also made it way too loud, and they need to level because also some of the tracks are also too quiet at parts. They need to level the audio on this a bit.
No, I'm covered in Jesus' blood. I'm covered in Jesus' blood. All of these people go to this church. I go to the grocery store every day. I'm in Walmart, Home Depot, all of those people. They could get me sick, but they're not because I'm covered in his blood. Thank you very much.
So another problem right away. Um, if I didn't know the context behind that clip, I would not have thought much anything of it. Out of context, it does, fit the album, I guess. Like, when Jesus is with you, then you can fight through anything, I guess. but I know what it's from, and it's a person trying to justify not wearing a mask during COVID or something like that. It's something to do with COVID, and like that makes me go like, really, like, because if you know where this is from, and they probably did, why would they put it on this album? Why would they do that? I mean, maybe it's true, but also like, let's say if we knew God was real, right? And there was a virus out there, which there was. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, well, I'm not gonna die because I'm protected by Jesus. That's kind of a shitty, selfish thing to say, is it not? That's kind of like, fuck you, kind of. Low key, fucks, no. That's a bit rude. It's a bit selfish. Anyways,
They're not because I'm covered in his blood. Thank you very much.
last track, thank God. The Solitary Brethren of Ephrata? Maybe? I don't know. Those instruments in the back sound somewhat medieval. Just a little bit. Yes, I'm drinking Prime. To clarify, I did not buy this. Fuck all three of those guys. This is literally all I have to drink. And my mom got it from her food bank, that's why I have it. I don't condone any of the shit those three do. Especially not the one we are all aware of. If we're gonna ignore all the rest of the songs, this at least is a nice closer, at least. We'll see if it sticks the landing. I don't think it will, but we'll see. Ugh. This flavor is ass too. I don't like this. Ugh. I'm gonna save money, so I probably won't buy a drink tonight. I'll probably buy a drink tomorrow. And you have your very stereotypical way of ending it too. Bum, 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 bum. Well, did not like that. I want to actually see what this guy says. Let me see, because I'm pretty sure he said it was a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10. No, this is not a 10. Not even close to a 10. I kind of want to watch this whole 50 minutes to see what he says about it, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, here's my. Okay, here's here's my thoughts on this. Right, let's go over to Haha. Wow. Okay. Um. Actually, now this picture is larger in my face. It's a very nice picture. I like it. I can see in more detail now. Okay, so to sum up, um, people, at least Fantano, thinks his album is a 10. I do not think so in the slightest. I'm not being contrarian. I just think there are plenty of glaring issues this album has that are issues that automatically make it not a 10. If someone tells me a 10, this album is a 10 out of 10, I assume at minimum, that every song will be good, no matter what genre, what even if it's experimental shit, even if it's weird avant-garde shit, it should be catchy. You can have something catchy and appealing to the ear, even if it's fucking noisy and avant-garde. It's about the correct textures and things, right? And first off, in none of the songs I would listen to again, not one. And this isn't even the same as like when listening to Dream Theater or some like prog rock or prog metal. I'm like, whoa, those guys are really talented. That's really hard to do. I appreciated their voice. It was good, and then she did it for almost an hour and a half, and that was way too much. Actually, not an hour and a half. I'm on recording for like an hour 10 minutes, but her voice was really cool. I appreciated it for 10 minutes, and then an hour went by, and I was really fucking bored of it. Um, she sings really well. That's cool. That is not gonna carry me through an entire hour. Um, so yeah, first off, all the songs they did not even stick with me one bit. Um, Second of all, I had I think an issue with every song except for one or two. There's a glaring issue. Either certain parts are way too quiet, way too loud. There's elements that were clashing, whether it be musical elements or words over layering over where they shouldn't layer over. Um, Times where what she's saying in terms of her words and how she's saying it are very mismatched. Thus, it feels disingenuous, which which is really disappointing. For again, I don't know if it's the backstory of this album, but knowing about their relationship with that guy from Daughters, you know, it's a shame that this album sucks so bad because I feel like it could have been very powerful and it came across very disingenuous and not powerful at all. Actually, like, unfortunately, the Daughters album I think was fucking amazing. It was one of the best albums I listened to in a long time. Unfortunately, and I wanted to like this album, and it just I didn't. Um, there's a lot of songs where musically it's going somewhere. There are certain chord progressions and certain things musically when you compose and write a song. There are certain things that you do that imply certain things. and there's a lot of songs that imply they're building up to a climax, and then they don't. Right? And some people could argue, well, it's just supposed to be a relaxing vibe for 10 minutes. The problem is that's not what they're doing. There are things they're doing that, again, clearly imply this will go somewhere, and then it does not go anywhere. And then they have these nice, ballad tracks afterwards, as if they did something cool to give you a break from that they didn't. So it's just like it's calm and boring, and then it goes a step down and gets even calmer. Like they think they did something cool on the track beforehand, and they didn't. Um, I, I feel like I said, like with her voice, she has a very nice voice, very beautiful, but I feel like it's kind of a one trick pony thing, and it came across a bit try hard, and I feel like if you would, as good as her voice is, if you remove her voice, she would have had a she would have had a much better album, because I feel like with her voice and the word choice making it seem disingenuous, with how one trick pony her voice is, no matter how good it is, with how much it clash with things at times. Um, there's a lot of problems her voice had. Her voice was most of the problems. And I feel like if you would have gotten rid of her voice, it would have been actually probably a really good album, like really good, because there wasn't that many problems with the music. Like at that point, with her voice gone, it's a matter of nitpicking. At that point, then I could see it being a probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10 album, maybe. But with her voice, it goes down a lot. Like it makes it seem kind of really boring. It's strange, isn't it? Because like without her voice, because without her voice, it with her voice, it's folky, tribal, somewhat religious, um, but when you take her voice out, because the songs go from boring to ambient esque, and they're again this album has some beautiful ideas and and like song palettes, and there is some songs where the instrumentals clash a little bit, but that's only like I think one of the songs. I think most of the time it's her that's clashing with the music, and also if you switch it to, if you consider it as an ambient record, you know, then the quiet and loud things I was talking about earlier as a complaint become a compliment. Um, it goes from a problem to a nice aid. It's um, it's different when an album that's not, I don't want to say not experimental, like this one isn't. It is. But like if I'm listening to some normal music and all of a sudden it gets obscenely loud out of nowhere and kind of clippy, I'd be like, what the fuck? That's really bad. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't match what the album's trying to go for. It's just weird. When like let's say something like Nurse with Wound or Merzbow or something more experimental and noisy, when they do that and that's their entire thing, it's a lot different. It comes across way different, and it's a very different effect it has because the context it's in is very different. And this album, um, it's it's kind of, it sets up a certain context and expectation, and it not only does not deliver on those expectations, but with the context it's set up, there's a lot of things that it does that in another context would be great, but in this context, it just doesn't match. It doesn't work. I feel like this album has an identity crisis where sometimes it's fighting itself and it doesn't know if it wants to be a uplifting album or a creepy album or like or something in the middle where it's some um, you know nicer instrumentals. Then you have some weirdness sprinkled in to make it kind of unnerving. If you so I keep forgetting to do a video on this album, but so I people know I'm not crazy. Um, there is an album by a artist called World's End Girlfriend. It is called Hurt Hurt Heartbreak Wonderland. Um, this album right here, it is doing almost the exact same things as this album is trying to do, except it does them correctly. This album has extremely pleasant orchestral melodies, somewhat folky at times, and they're beautiful. But then also it combines it with these very noisy, abrasive, um, ugly, synths, and like noise elements, like a lot of like people like Merzbow would do, like very like actual noise, but it works. And there are songs where they transition. There are songs where they actually transition, where at the start of the song it's purely, you know, um, beautiful, calm, instrumental, orchestral, symphonic, calm music, and by the end of the song, it's literally just like overblown static, but the transitions actually work and they're done properly. And I think if you listen to that album in full and then go back to this album, you'll understand what I'm saying. Because I get why some people might look at me and say I'm being contrarian. I'm not making any sense. I'm overlooking things. I'm not giving this album a fair shot. I'm being mean. I'm being overly critical. Whatever. Listen to that album first, then come back to this, then come back to me. Just do that. Then you'll see what I mean when I say it's they're combining it not in a good way, because they're doing the exact same thing, but they combine it correctly. They know what they're doing a lot better. When I say something like they can't tell if they want to be organic or and beautiful and with the instrumentals or artificial noisy, and they're in like a weird in between that's not really working right. They know what they're doing, and they go to both sides, but they fully commit to both sides. This feels like they're not committing it to both sides. It feels like they wanted a religious folk album, and they wanted to be creepy and throw some noisy or experimental things in there, but they didn't want to commit to it fully, so they didn't, and you can tell. But again, in that other album, they did, and you can tell they fully committed, and the album's much better for it. That's probably going to be the next album that I listen to. I only listened to it once years ago. I loved it. I wanted to do a review on it. I might do a reaction on it. That's probably going to be the next video I do even. I might even do that tomorrow. Who knows? I do it now. Even ADHD's a bitch like that. But yeah. This was not good. But at the start of the video, I said that I'm able to I'm able to basically differentiate if something's good and not my style, but still recognize it's good, or may like something and know and recognize it's bad, and all that kind of stuff. I didn't like this album. Um, it wasn't my style, but also, in and of itself, was bad. And I think that's objective. Like that's not being a contrarian or anything like that. I like. It doesn't matter what genre it is. If music is good, I'll like it. I like a lot of things. Just a reminder: whenever I like a song, I always add it to a very specific playlist. I call them Radio A and Radio B because I maxed out the playlist length at 5,000, so I had to add another one to remind people these are all the genres that are in here that I like. And there's also more because this is also outdated. When it comes to music, I know what the hell I'm talking about. And when I say it didn't do a good job and it could have done better, I like to think I know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna say it could have done it better. That's it. That's gonna be my time. Um, I will say without voice, this album could have possibly been an 8. I don't know. Um, with her voice, it might be a 2 or a 3. Very boring. Um, lots of issues with it. There's some good things about it. It's mixed very well. Most of the time, her voice is nice until it got too boring one note. There's some interesting ideas, but that's kind of it. Um, they do not survive the hour-long album. Um, the, they're good, but not good enough to make this entire thing worthwhile. They're good for a few minutes. That's gonna be it. I gotta go. I have people trying to call me. I've been yapping for too long, anyways. I'm your professional yapper signing off, I guess.